For a book lover, there is nothing more exciting than finding out that your favorite book is going to be made into a movie. However, the reality of that movie, of that adaptation, very rarely lives up to expectation. It's very hard to take a 400-page book and get it into an hour-and-a-half long movie. However, for a book lover like myself, we want every scene that we love adapted to the screen. So in this speech, I'm going to attempt to persuade you that the book Ready Player One was far superior to its movie adaptation. Now, if you're not familiar with the story, Ready Player One is the story of Wade Watts, who is on a quest to find Holiday's Easter egg. This book takes place partly in reality, partly in a digital reality place called The Oasis. It was adapted into a movie by Steven Spielberg in 2018 and got mixed results in the box office. Most people's major issue with the movie was they completely changed the key tasks that Wade had to go through to try to win the Easter egg. This was frustrating for a fan of the book because it didn't follow any rhyme or reason that we had really invested in while reading the book. One of the main differences between the movie and the book is the character development. In the original story, Wade has more depth. You get a real glimpse into Wade's life and why he chooses to spend all of his time in the Oasis. He doesn't have a very happy home life, and while he's not very popular in the Oasis, he does have more positive interactions there with characters like his best friend H. He spends a lot of time with H, learning pop culture, which is very vital to the larger story, and his relationship with H grows very organically. Another character that he has a very defined relationship with in the book is Artemis. In the book, Artemis and Wade don't meet until the very end. In the movie, however, they forced this relationship to move much faster. He actually meets Artemis pretty quickly in the movie, which deprives them of the ability to really get to a deeper level. In the book, Wade starts out as just a fan of Artemis as he sees her questing in her video feeds, and then eventually gets an opportunity to meet her in the first key task. And then eventually they develop a mutual respect, friendship, and eventually a relationship. This is very vital to Wade's character because he is very lonely and he's never had a family. And through characters like H and Artemis, he begins to find his place in the world. Another thing that the book did much better than the movies was the 80s pop culture references. Now, obviously, when you have a movie, it's really difficult with all the intellectual properties to include everything that you can in the book. But in my opinion, some vital things were missed in the movie. Like I mentioned, they did change the quest, which kind of changed the tone of the book. The specific quest in the book line up with some of the things that Wade is going through. So it's vital to his quest. Some of the main things that they cut out were the movie flicks, which were a part of the key quest and the final chapter of trying to get the key. In the movie, they change it to a section about The Shining, but in the book, they spend a lot of time describing these flick syncs where you have to act out a movie, and in one task, Wade acts out the entire Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail, which has parallels to the overall theme of the story, given that Wade's online name is Parzival. Ready Player One at its core is a coming-of-age story. It starts with Wade as a scared, lonely boy, and throughout the events of the book turns him into a more well-rounded person who cares about his friends. And this theme that of family, found family, is very evident through the relationships he creates with the rest of the core four. At its core, Ready Player One is a coming-of-age story. In the book, Wade's relationships are the foundation in which he is able to grow. In the book, he starts out as a scared, lonely child, and by the end of the book, he is making some very daring moves in order to protect his friends and shows his loyalty and how much the high five and the quest that they have been on means to him. The movie, however, seems to forget that it is a coming of the age story. So it focuses more on the corporate takeover, protecting the oasis because that is the love. So it really misses out at the heart of what makes this story so special. In a Hollywood Reporter article, a writer describes the key to making a good film adaptation from a book. And one of the main points was that you have to catch the spirit of the book. Now, in this case, this movie fails to capture the spirit of the book and instead relies on the nostalgia factor of all the properties that they are able to use. So it becomes less of a coming of age story for Wade and almost to a certain extent a cautionary tale against spending too much time online that you lose sight of what's right in front of you in the real world. One of my favorite quotes from this book is, "Nobody in the world gets exactly what they want, and that is beautiful." And in the case of the movie, that is exactly what happened. Now, if you've never read the book, it's very possible that you will enjoy the movie because you don't understand the quest that Wade went on in the book. However, I highly encourage you to read the book and then see the movie and use your opinion to tell me whether you think the book was better than the movie. Thanks, class.